All right, Miles, we have to talk about the USC Trojans. This is one of those teams that has really jumped out in the college football world. They're undefeated. They're running roughshod over the Pac-12. They're putting up big numbers, finding a way to eke out close games, just doing what they need to win football games like they had to do against Oregon State. This is a true college football playoff contenders. I think we can finally say USC is back. There's been a few games for the past few years where maybe people, hey, maybe the Trojans are back. Maybe they're contender now. It didn't work out. This time, I think it's different. They've got the right head coach. They've got the right quarterback. All the momentum is heading in the right direction. And I know you have some thoughts on the Trojans. Before I hand it off to you, USC fans, we want to hear from you in the comment section below. What player do you think has had the most positive impact on this football team so far this season? Look, I get it. There's a million of them. Obviously, Caleb Williams has been fantastic. Dyer running back has been good. Jordan Addison has been, he's going to win the Belenikoff Award. Again, it seems like he's been unbelievable. But we want to hear from you specifically. You guys know the Trojans better than anybody else. Let us know the guy who you think has had the hugest impact for the Trojans so far this season. But Miles, what are your thoughts on USC?
Yeah, Nick. USC has been real impressive so far this season. In a few games, they're gonna have their toughest test so far. I think that game versus Utah is gonna be a big one, and that's really gonna bring out the colors. And I think if they win that one, they have a pretty clear shot to college football playoff, like you said.
I
But
think so.
Caleb Williams, this guy, he goes from Oklahoma to Southern Cal, and he's just doing the same thing he has been doing all along. He's been absolutely brilliant behind the ball. This past week versus Arizona State, put up 348 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Really, really big game for him. And he's been doing that all season. He's had one game, 284, but 3 games so far that have been really, really, really impressive. And he's had a really strong season so far. But there's one thing I want to talk about. And last week, not only did Caleb Williams do it with his arm, he did it with his legs as well. He ran for a touchdown, and he was pretty key on third downs as well, especially in the first half of that game. The Trojans converted 5 of 6 key third downs, and I think that's a big part on getting an early lead on Arizona State. And this is a team that I think if they keep doing the right things, they keep moving forward. Obviously, there's a little struggle with offensive line depth, but getting past that, I think that they can go far, and I think they can be a big contender, like you said, moving forward. How have you thought of Williams? Obviously, Lincoln Riley, just the Trojans in general performance so far this season.
I give a lot of credit to Lincoln Riley. Obviously, he brings in all these transfers. He brought in Mario Williams and obviously Caleb Williams. Mario Williams, the receiver, Caleb Williams, the quarterback from Oklahoma, Addison from Pitt. He was catching touchdowns from Kenny Pickett last year. He was obviously going on to start in the NFL. Caleb Williams probably isn't too far behind from Pickett's trajectory. How wonderful he's looked. I think the big thing here with Lincoln Riley is he's taken all these new pieces because the USC, they're basically like a brand new NFL team that went through a major rebuild with all the transfers they brought in. They brought in 20 transfers this offseason. 17 of them made the initial two deep, according to the ringer.com. That's essentially a third of your roster is all new guys. And you live in a college football world where your practice time is regulated, your reps times are regulated, your meeting time is regulated. So to have these guys come in and kind of get on the same page and be really productive right out of the gate puts a lot of credit to Lincoln Riley and that offensive coaching staff. It's calling the right plays, it's understanding what players do best, and allow them to go out and just win based on their talent level alone. Because frankly, on paper, this is a top 10 talent roster in college football, bar none. I'd argue even top 5. I think they're right up there with the Alabamas and the Ohio States and the Georgias. We'll have to see how they do the rest of the season. I think going to Utah will be a big measuring stick game. Utah's feisty. Cameron Rising's a veteran quarterback. He's been through a lot. It's a good defense there. If Caleb Williams in this offense can put up some big numbers at Utah, I'll be really impressed going forward. Because right now, the only real threat is maybe UCLA late in the year, obviously rivalry game. I'm not impressed with Arizona. Colorado is terrible. Berkeley sucks. Notre Dame's had a rough year. I don't see anyone on the schedule outside of those two guys really threatening USC. So if they go through this run right here and they make a statement here against the Utes, I think this team is a clear shot to the Pac-12 championship game, and then at the very least the Rose Bowl, and then a real shot at the college football playoff. Because one of the things with USC is that it's sort of like Notre Dame, right? When they're good, the college football playoff committee wants to get them in there because they're one of the historic blue blood programs. And right now they seem to be doing everything right, building all the mojo. They just need to come a couple key wins here down the stretch, and obviously no slip ups to kind of follow that path into the college football playoff.
Yeah, and I want to give Lincoln Riley a couple more props. Obviously, this beginning of this game, this past week, it was started off, going into halftime.
It's
It was
close. Yeah.
21-17, close,
Close.
close game. They made some key second half adjustments, Nick, only allowing 8 points in the second half. But get this, after halftime, apparently Lincoln Riley gave a doozy of a speech. The defense, 5 sacks, held Arizona State to -13 rushing yards. Big time second half adjustments by the Trojans defense and really help them eke out this big time win. They were able to put up 41 points overall, and they kind of slowed down this Arizona State attack. So I think Riley brings a lot to this team, and he's one of the things. We speak about the old days. Pete Carroll, the coach, made all the difference. Lincoln Riley here at Southern Cal, bringing all these players over with him. This guy makes a huge difference, and I think he's something that's going to help catapult them forward.